is get ideas from everyone in the room. And one of the takeaways I hope you get today is that AI works best from the grassroots. So what I want you to do in the next 60 seconds is turn to someone near you and ask them the best way they are using AI right now, okay? So I'll give you 60 seconds. There's some chairs up here if you're just walking in. Ask someone how they're using AI right now, and you can meet them too. We have chairs up here, chairs right there. We're going to hand out some swag soon. All right, 15 seconds. 15 seconds, wrap it up. Get ready to share. Come on in. We got chairs up. All right, let's hear some of those ideas. What do we got over here? What did you guys talk about? What's the best way people are using it right now? Okay. Perfect. So the idea is using AI as a product manager, using AI to set the goals. So can we give her a bag to thank her for her participation? Yes, in the back. What'd you get? Bring it up. Bring it up. You got to go fast. Come on. What? Yeah, early code, right? Coding. All right, give that man a swag. What else we got? What other ideas?
Writing an article on using AI agents and to improve customer experience.
Okay, and what did you find? Or what do you write? Yeah, what did you find?
Really good stuff. Good examples is the most recently produced table that I wrote.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, got about 80%. Yep.
We're creating an evangelism chat custom GPT to help all the different ministries to use all their different resources collectively to action.
Perfect. Yeah, another one here. Right here, right here, right here. All right, what do we got?
Built an AI lab at a school where the students get prompts about what the school's going to do to solve the problems, and they tons of send in stuff, and you get $500 for the winner, $300 fund is all.
And what are you doing with the information then once you get it?
Using it to do the things that we needed help with.
Amazing. Yes, sourcing it. Yep, right here.
We do pastor training for global
Pastor training. Okay.
and we create the courses, translate them rapidly, use global AI voices to create the audios, and then send them out.
Amazing. So cool. All right, so AI can do so many things. What you need to do is bring your expertise, right? And so we're going to do this today. We're not just going to talk about it. We're actually going to build. But I want to give you a state of AI and walk through it. So I'm Scott Meyer. I'm the co-founder of Chipp, based in Fargo, North Dakota. My team is here. You maybe saw them handing out bags. So Hunter, our CTO, and Daniel and Valentina as well, right there. Valentina is going to hand out some postcards that will have the QR code to sign up and build today. So you can feel free to do that while we're talking. But first, let's talk about where we are. AI is moving quick. It feels like it's fast because it is. The blue dot is AI adoption in the United States versus the internet. So in the last 2 years, almost 50% of Americans are now using AI on a weekly basis, which is much faster than the adoption of the internet. But when you ask companies, are they using AI? Only 7% of them are saying that they are, which is obviously a lie because 50% of people are using AI on a weekly basis. And so anybody here ever use AI and not tell their boss? Anyone secret robot? We got some folks like that. So this is a huge problem, is that there's robots among us. You guys are leveraging your superpower but not telling your colleagues or your boss, and we need to change that. Research came out last week that shows that a human plus an AI creates about the same quality of work as two humans together. And so AI is your chance to have a teammate. If you're ever working by yourself, whether it's midnight and everyone else is asleep, or you don't have anyone else, you're a solopreneur, or you're the only person doing marketing, or you don't have a legal person you need help with, AI is the second best option, right? Use your teammate if they're there, but if you don't have one, use AI. And it's always available, and it can be who you want. AI is not just a write email better machine, it's a think better machine. When you use it as strategy, it'll increase and improve your work. Our goal today is to do what matters. I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so I can do art and writing, not AI to do art and writing so I can do laundry and dishes. Put simply, AI is great at what you hate. And everyone in this room hates different things, right? So maybe Valentina loves spreadsheets, and she's happy going through those, but I don't, right? So I'm going to use it for my data analysis. Maybe she's going to use it for her writing, right? And so AI is personal. It's not what does our CTO say we should do with it. It's what should you do with it. The people who are doing the tasks are the one that are going to have the greatest impact. So by the end of the next 15 minutes or so, you're going to be a centaur, right? Human on top, AI on the bottom, right? We're going to be able to do these things. So when we build with AI, there's 3 types of knowledge you want to think about. We have world knowledge, personal knowledge, and professional knowledge. World knowledge is everything you can Google. ChatGPT, Perplexity, any of these AI models, they have all that knowledge already built. Interesting fact, one of the first versions of ChatGPT was 9% built on Enron emails because they were open source and had lots of information, right? So you can learn all about laundering money thanks to ChatGPT. But when you ask anything that's Googleable, you don't have to add that information. It already knows it, right? But if I want to know who won the basketball game last night, it's going to have to browse the web. It has to go get it because the training only goes through April 2024 right now or so. But we can add information to the world knowledge, right? So we can add professional information. This would be information you're okay uploading and sharing, right? So this is maybe your pricing, or maybe it's your how you work, or maybe it's how to ask someone for vacation time, or maybe it's like how do we be a good pastor? It's probably not on your website being scraped by Google, and you might not want it to be, but you're okay uploading it and having other people ask, right? And then there's personal information, which is information you maybe don't want anyone to know, right? It's your biometrics from your watch, or maybe it's your customer data, or maybe it's the social security numbers of your team. That's information we don't want necessarily uploaded all the time. Maybe you are okay doing it if it's in a private AI, right? So think about those 3 types of knowledge, and that'll help determine which tool to use and also what privacy you might need. World knowledge, you can just go straight to a ChatGPT. Professional knowledge, you're going to have to upload information to there. Personal knowledge, I would recommend a level of privacy, right? So let's do a real quick game. I got my friend Hunter here who used to do improv. He doesn't know what's going on, but I want to do, anyone remember whose line is it anyway? Yeah, okay. So we're going to write a sentence. So I'm going to say the first word of the sentence, which is monkeys, and he's going to say the next word of the sentence, monkeys play, and then my friend here,
Furiously.
monkeys play furiously with bananas. Yeah, let's give it up for our writers. Let's give some swag up here to these 2. You guys just did exactly what AI does. AI guesses the next word, essentially. We call it tokens, but essentially it picks the next word based on what came before it. So this is really fun, but it can lead to what's known as hallucinations, right? If it starts to go off, it'll keep going off. So it's like the plane leaving LA. If it's 1 degree to the south, it'll land in DC instead of New York, which is why you want a human in the loop to make sure it stays on track. Remember, hallucination is just creativity in a different form, so you have to figure out when you're okay with it. So this is what's known as linear AI. Almost every AI tool you have used is a linear AI tool, which means it's creating the answer based on the sentences before it, like we just did. But now we just had that sentence. Let's do another one. How about that? Both guys have fingers on their mouths, but let's start. I'm going to say he wants what he wants was. Let's go for it. Robert, A. Student. All right, he wants was a student. Now you as a reasoning AI get to pick. Do we like sentence 1? Round of applause. How about sentence 2? Oh, boo. Okay, so reasoning models do this. Reasoning models can look at a bunch of different sentences, decide which one it wants, pick that, and then do that again, and look back and pick again. And so it's like checking on the GPS the whole flight, right, and making sure it's on track. And so we can use these tools in a different way. So let's talk real quick about what we're talking about with linear and reasoning. Linear models are ChatGPT 4, Claude Sonnet 3.5 Llama. If you're using a pro version of ChatGPT and you don't click the drop down, you're using a linear model. If you're using the free version, it's a linear model. Reasoning models would be DeepSeek, O1 and O3, Claude Sonnet 3.7, which just came out. These take longer. They're going to be really good for research and deep thinking, not as good for back and forth, talking to customers or anything based on like PDFs, information like that. You don't need that much power, right? The reasoning models take a lot more energy, a lot more power, they're a lot more expensive, but they're really good for doing big research. So we want to think about which ones we're going to use. So what we're going to do in the next kind of 10 minutes, we're going to talk about some frameworks, how to use them, and then we're going to build. So whenever you're using any AI tool, whether it's creating images, text, whatever, remember the AI sandwich, which is everything starts with you, the human. You're the bread on top, right? And then the AI, the cheese and the meat, that's in the middle. It's going to do something, but you're the bread on the bottom, right? So you have to come back to whatever it gives you and improve it. You either have to fact check it, maybe you have to share it, maybe you have to ask again, make it a club sandwich, go back to the AI, start stacking that stuff up, right? But remember, you're always on the bottom, right? So you're the bottom of the sandwich. Now, the best way to get started with AI for your organization is what I call AI in the room. This comes from a great book called Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick. Highly recommend if you want just kind of a general overview of AI. But the best way to get started is bring AI when you're having conversations. Make it that second best option, right? Because when it's in the room just conversing with you, it doesn't have to be right. It can be an idea machine instead of an answer machine. It's much better at being an idea machine, right? So bring AI into the room and start using it to have different perspectives. Have it play the role of the thing that's not in the room. Most of us don't have that millennial person to talk to, or we don't have that 70-year-old donor, or we don't have that pastor. Like whatever that role is we're trying to think about, that can be played by AI. So when we talk to AI, we use what's known as a prompt, just a fancy way of saying a question, right? And when we have good questions, we get good answers. So good prompts matter, and it matters differently for linear and reasoning. So real quickly, when we talk about prompts, like I mentioned on stage, we want to use the RIPE framework, just a really quick way to know what to say. You're going to ask 4 sentences. It'll probably be longer as you go. But to get started, you're going to tell it the role it should be. You're going to give it an instruction of what to do. Give it parameters, what to do or not do, and then give it examples. So here's an example. You are a skilled marketer, clear direction. Ask the user what kind of content's needed, ask them what topic to write about, and then create a draft that's optimized for virality. Parameters, keep it concise, use bullets and emojis, make it easy to skim. And here's an example of a social media post I recently posted. You create the strategy, AI implements the strategy with a little star emoji. What's going to happen is by giving an example like this, it's going to learn how I talk and immediately sound like me or my company or whoever I'm trying to be. By giving it parameters like this, I'm going to keep that plane from going too far off. By giving it a clear instruction, in this case, it's going to do these things in order, the way I ask it. And by doing this, I'm shrinking that bell curve of possibilities. So if you think about AI is predicting what word's going to come next. So if I said monkeys, the chance of the word bananas coming is very high. You guys did the same thing. When I say you're a skilled marketer, AI suddenly shrinks the possibilities in that bell curve to what marketers say. Right? So just by saying you're a marketer means the answers are going to be better because now it's not every word in the history of the internet. It's only words that marketers use. And if I say you're a skilled marketer in Texas speaking to 12-year-olds, the bell curve is even smaller, right? So the more I tell it what to be, the chance of going on the edges of the bell curve go down, right? So this is how we get better questions, better answers. So this is a really simple way to get started. And you can obviously then add more and more to it. Although I'm finding more is not always better with prompts. Giving it a little flexibility is often a great way to get started. Now, we can add the RIPE framework with integrations, right? So we have world knowledge, and the RIPE framework will help us do that. But what if we add knowledge to it? So we can add files, we can add YouTube videos, we can add Notion documents, we can add paratext. And so this is an example of one that you guys will be able to build. You don't have to copy all this. You'll be able to just like duplicate it. But we're going to tell it the role. You're going to be a biblical scholar, skilled at providing analogies and translating biblical concepts to people in a Bible study. The direction is ask if they want to explore a topic. If they ask, share a few verses. If they ask about a specific verse, create a Bible study. Then ask them what to write about and create a draft. So this is what we're going to talk about is what's known as a step prompt. We'll go through that in just a moment. We're going to add some parameters, and then here's an example. So this would be creating a bot that could do Bible study based on someone's input. And because it integrates with paratext, it's going to be able to pull all that biblical knowledge, including the study notes and everything into it, right? So we can augment the world knowledge with professional knowledge. This is using what's known as step prompting. This is a great hack to build AI for other people. So if you are going to be single player mode, you're going on ChatGPT, you're just going to ask questions for whatever you're working on, that's fine. You don't need step prompting because you know exactly the next thing you want it to do. The challenge is a lot of us are going to build AI for other people. This might be our teammates. It might be people visiting your website who have questions. It might be pastors. It might be people filling out that questionnaire that we heard about. So if we're doing multiplayer AI, we need to build AI to prompt the user instead of forcing the user to tell AI what to do because they don't have any clue how to prompt it, right? We need to build it for them. This is what Chipp does, is it makes it easy to build AI for groups, for multiplayer, for people. And step prompting is a great way to do this. This is where you tell the AI, first ask them this question. First, ask them what's the blog post you want to write. Second, ask them if there's any keywords they should include. Third, ask them what social media platform this is going on. And then fourth, write the post. If you just write the post, it's not going to be as good. And so you're getting information from the user to make a better outcome. So here's an example. What type of content would you like to write? Is there a transcript or document you want to base it on, right? I'll give you just a second. Create content based on the information. For short posts, give 3 examples. Step 4, ask for edits. So if I'm the user, I don't need to know anything. I don't even know I'm using AI, right? Like I'm just talking, and it's saying, like, what do you want to write? And I say, I need a newsletter for my church. What do you want it to be about? I want it to be about the new pastor we just hired. Is there any documents or details? Like, yeah, here's an email that I have, and then do you like this post? Edit or not, right? AI sandwich, I edit, I look at it, or I go back and forth, right? So that's a really easy step prompt, how we build for other people. Very similar to a step prompt is what's known as a branch prompt. Just think about this as an if-then. So if you want to combine a lot of things into one AI, you basically are going to prompt the AI to say, if they ask about creating content, do these 4 steps. If they ask about, what's for lunch at the church, do these 4 steps, right? And you can build, obviously, lots of steps. So if they do this, here's the steps. If they do that, here's the steps. So essentially, you're literally writing software, right? Like this is how software is built, but you're just doing it with text. And you can put a bunch of things into one. So classic example, on your website, you're going to have a speech bubble for your people who visit, and they can ask questions about who do I talk to about XYZ, when are you open, how do I donate, what are the programs, do you have childcare? And if they ask about childcare, make sure to give this website and say this. If they ask about times, here's our resources for that. So you're preparing the AI to give the answers you want. So all of this is about building AI for other people, because if you're using ChatGPT, you know exactly for yourself what you want, but you want to control the response the way you want it. So let's build. So if things go fast, if we melt the servers again, we have a resource for you and your team. This is totally free, but you can just go to the Chipp website and click on Academy, or you can go to chipp.disco.co, which is where all of our courses are held. We do workshops about twice a week, and we go really deep on a lot of the stuff we've already talked about and really specific examples. So, for example, Thursday, we're doing one on how to create Facebook ads from idea all the way to launch just using AI. So that's like a workshop we do. So you can join any of those. All of our events are there, as well as our courses on how to AI and how to Chipp. So just really great place if I go too fast. So let's go ahead and build. Now, the first question people always have when we start to build is it safe? Is it private? How do I think about this? I think about the privacy pyramid when we talk about AI. You should start here and work your way up. Most of you don't need the top. Some of you need, in the middle, and maybe all of you need the bottom. So when you're building an AI, the first thing you should think about in a company is, what are our best practices? The problem with AI right now is the FOMO is greater than the FOMO, which means the fear of messing up is greater than the fear of missing out. So people don't do AI because they think they're going to mess up, which is why 50% of you use it and only 7% of you tell your boss, right? Because you're maybe afraid, maybe I'm not supposed to, maybe I shared something I wasn't supposed to, maybe they think I'm really good at work and I'm actually just using AI, whatever it might be. If you want to adopt AI in your organization, I've probably helped over 100 companies do this at this point. The most important and easiest thing to do is have lunch. Have a lunch and learn where people in the company share with one another what they're doing. Exactly what we did at the very beginning here is what you should do at your company. And just set it, once a month, twice a month, whatever, because that horizontal knowledge sharing will help everyone get better, and most importantly, gives everyone permission. It sets the scene that we are okay with you trying AI. So if you're going to have that lunch, what you should say is, here's what we can and can't do. We can upload, donor information. we can upload our, I don't know, maybe our anything that's on our website, we can upload as files, right? So simple best practice. Once you set where the parameters are, people will be more likely to do it. Of course, people might mess up, which is why we have other steps. The next one is you can use an AI that doesn't save the files long term. So for example, Anthropic will save files and conversations for 30 days and then delete it. You have to take their word on it, right? Like we can't really fact check it, but that is something that ChatGPT doesn't say. ChatGPT is saying that they're keeping your data. The next step you can take is make sure that your data is not used for training. So if you're worried about whatever you say or upload being somehow used in this ocean of information, you can, with Chipp, nothing is used for training. With Claude, nothing is used for training. With ChatGPT, you have to pay and uncheck it under settings, right? So make sure that if you are uploading information that you don't want to be included in future models, that you have that. Now, if you're going to use sensitive data, like our friends at IMB, you're going to want to have AI on your own infrastructure, right? So it runs in your cloud. Nothing's sent to OpenAI. Instead, it just runs in your Azure or Google Cloud instance. So you can run Llama or an open source model like Mistral. And in that case, it's like literally talking to your own computer, right? Like the information is all there from that world knowledge. So the world knowledge is on your hard drive, the cloud. And then you can add your own information to it, which is already there. Nothing's leaving your organization. So if you have sensitive needs, you can run local. And Chipp can run locally. We partner with Prediction Guard, who you heard from, and that's essentially what we do. Prediction Guard provides the private LLM. We provide the application layer, right? So easy to keep it. So I'm going to give you 5 different things you can build. You guys think about which one you want, and then we're going to get out your phones, and you can build alongside. The first one go ahead. Yeah, DeepSeek is the Chinese model, incredibly powerful, incredibly cheap. If you use it open source, totally fine. DeepSeek is open source just like Llama, so if you put it on your own computer, the information is not going anywhere because you control it. And the powerful thing about open source models is you set the rules, right? So if you don't want anyone to be able to ask anything that's not related to church, like you could set those rules. Or what other people will do is take all the rules off, right? Because when you're using ChatGPT, there's security, safety rules, right? Things you can't talk about. No longer can you create Studio Ghibli images because it's an IP violation. But if you have an open source model, you can get rid of all that or put things on. So I would say, okay, if you're doing an open source, I would not use it on deepseek.com because that information is going to a server in China and you don't have any control over it. So yeah, that'd be my short take. Yeah, great one. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I'm going to give you as options. You're going to get a template that will give you everything in the prompt, and then you can just iterate it. So the first AI tool I recommend people build is a digital protege. This writes like you. So I gave you that prompt at the beginning. So essentially, you're going to just tell it what you want to write. The second one a lot of businesses find value in is an HR assistant. This is where you upload files from your own company information and let people ask questions. So think about it as like, find stuff in my Google Drive, right? So it's like, who did I talk about this? How do I get vacation time? What's our PTO policy? Third one is customer-facing FAQ. So how can people ask questions to an AI tool instead of having to wait for a phone call? This dramatically decreases your administrative load if you think about all the phone calls and emails you get about stuff that should have been an email or should have just been like found on the website, right? So that's a really fun one to build. Fourth we can do is the biblical scholar. So if you want to get nerdy on the paratech stuff, we can do that, and you can create a Bible study. So let's go. Should we build? Are you guys ready? All right, so you have a postcard. You can decide what's easier. You can go to this. Let's just actually go to Chipp. Yeah. You can go to chipp.ai, or you can scan that postcard, and that'll get you there. So I'll do it sort of slow, but if I go too fast, remember you have the course you can go back to. You can do this on your phone. You can just watch me do it. You can do it on your computer, whatever it might be. So Chipp, free to use. It's an application built on top of the LLMs. You can switch between any LLM you want. So you can choose ChatGPT, Anthropic, Mistral, Gemini, etc. It can be private. It can be just on the free version here. So you're going to go here and click Get Started. It's free. It'll ask you a few questions to create your account. And when you're done with that, you'll land on your dashboard. So I'll give this a second to load, and I'll show you from here how we can pick an application. So once you have logged in, and I'll give you a few seconds, we're going to go to what's called the marketplace, because this is going to be the fast way to just get something quickly that you can copy. So when you're on the marketplace, this is over 200 plus templates that other people have built. Chipp has built some, but our community has built a lot. You can actually build templates and share them and even sell them if you want to. And when you copy a template, what you're getting is both the prompt as well as any of the integrations with other software. So it's a really nice way to get a bunch of prompts and see how people do things and then just iterate, right? I think the hardest thing is the blank page problem, looking at a blank screen, knowing where to start. That's the best way to use AI. Solve the blank page problem by asking it where to start and then get the momentum. So what we're going to do here is you can just type in whichever app you wanted to build. So if you want to do a protege, we can click protege. You can see that digital protege right there. If you want to do missional null, we can do that. And that'll find our biblical scholar. I'll do the biblical scholar one. When you search and click something, you can test the app out, right? So you can kind of see how this template works, ask questions. So I can just test this out. So when I say, hi, this is what I'm going to see or my users are going to see. And what we're going to look at is how this is created, right? So here's the response I'm getting. It's saying, explore a topic, study a verse. Remember that prompt I showed you that was sort of longer? This is exactly what that prompt is pulling from, right? So in that prompt, I said, ask them if they'd like to explore a topic or a Bible study. What I might decide is, I don't like all this text at once, so maybe I go back into the prompt and I say, ask it one at a time, right? Or ask it like a text message, or don't do more than 3 sentences at a time, right? So I can really fine tune the responses. But this is good enough for me, so I'm going to go here and click duplicate, and you guys can do the same on whichever app you choose to build. So once we click duplicate, we're going to get a copy of our application. I'm going to go over here. I have one kind of started for us. Let's see. There's the website FAQ. No, we'll refresh. No. Let's see. No. Sorry, Val. I thought that would get me there. We have a new builder that looks much more beautiful, so I want to make sure we have it. Okay. So once when we build our app, there's 2 pieces to what we can do. We can either tell the AI what to do or show it what to do, okay? So I'm going to walk you through both. You can just name this, right? So we're going to name this, we'll just say missional. There you go. You can see on the right, this is what our users will see. So if I click the share tab, at any point, I'm going to be able to share this link, and you would see what we're building here, right? So easy to build and share. So we can go into Chipp and just train it. So let's tell it what to do. So let's give it a conversation starter. So let's do start a Bible study. All right, so now I have conversation starters for my users, right? So really quick things that they can click. I'm just going to go over here to my link. You can refresh it, and you can see those buttons show up. All right, so I wanted to start a Bible study. Now it'll start the conversation. All right. I don't like how I misspelled stuff, so I'm going to fix that. And then I'm going to go down here, and I can choose my model. So again, lots of models. I think about them as fast, frontier, and reasoning. So fast are the cheap, really fast linear models like 4.0 Mini. They work really well if you are just giving it files and you just want really quick back and forth. That doesn't cost a lot of tokens. The ones I use most are right here at the top, 4.0, 1.5 Pro from Gemini, 3.5 Sonnet. 3.5 Sonnet, I like best for text. I think it's the most personal. I use it all for all my writing. I use 4.0 for all of my data analysis. I use 1.5 Pro for anything that's super long. So Gemini allows you to have 2 million tokens, which is roughly a little less than 1-to-1 on words. So you could say 2 million words. You can upload 6 to 8 books into the instructions, right? Not as files, just literally copy paste the entire book. So if you have a ton of information, you can just paste it all in with Gemini. But on ChatGPT, you're going to have around 8,000, right? So much, much lower. So just that's the benefit why you might choose one or the other. I'm going to choose 3.5 Sonnet. We tell you about what it's about. And then here's that prompt we talked about. I like to use these hashtags. I just think about them as headlines, right? So double hashtag is a headline. It helps me visually know where things are, and also I can refer in the prompt to other parts of the instructions if I want. So here's your biblical scholar. Ask if they want to explore a verse such as loneliness, family, which I spelled wrong, or something else. Parameters, keep it concise. Always suggest the next question. I might say, let's say no more than 3 sentences at a time. So just by changing that, I'm telling it how to behave, right? And now I didn't give it much time, but it should be pretty quick. Oh, not yet. We'll update it, and it should try to follow those instructions. And what we might need to do is start a new chat, and it might not always listen to what you want, right? That's the creativity bit. And so you might have to play around with it. So this one's not taking my instruction as well as I'd like, so I'd go in here and be more strict, like never do this, always do that. So this is how we tell it what to do. And again, if you just go to the marketplace and duplicate, you're going to get that prompt, right? You're going to get all that information. So you can just start with it. And now you can go in and just edit it. But the other way that's even easier to potentially train it is to just add other information. So instead of just playing in the world knowledge, we're going to go into the professional knowledge, right? So we might have a website, right? We might have a PDF. We might have a podcast. We might have a Google Sheet, a YouTube, a Notion document, or a combination. So I could literally just scrape my website and say, write like me. Here's my website of how I talk. And now it's trained, right? Because it knows how I talked. I don't have to do any other training. Or I might say, here's 10 years of my sermons. And now I can ask, what topic do I give sermons about the most? We were talking about that, right? What should I not talk about next Sunday? So you can do a lot of things, right? My favorite, I have 4 kids. I'm basically an Uber driver that plays software on the side. I love doing voice memos on my iPhone, and then I upload the M4A file with the ideas, and that way when I get back to my desk, it's all ready for me. So I'm saying, I should write an article about ministry and AI, and it should include these 4 things. I can upload that audio file to Chipp. It'll then write the script or write the outline for me, and I can even have it prepared to write the entire post. So you can really prepare it for yourself or prepare it for your team, and the knowledge source helps you do that quickly. Lastly, you're able to do a lot of powerful things. We won't go too into deep here, but you can add information, via an API or output it. And one of the ones that I know, like we're working with Biblica on, is using WhatsApp as well. So imagine that you're actually just having a conversation in a channel on WhatsApp, but it's talking to your prepared AI, right? So it's answering how you want it to based on the training you've given it, but it's in the place where your, maybe your audience is, and it also is encrypted, which is one of the reasons why other people are interested. So there's lots of ways to use it, and you can get really fancy, but most importantly, it's easy, and it's easy to share. So we can have that link. I'm going to then send that to my team to use. I can actually just embed it in an iframe. So I always like showing this example as like a quick. Here's a client that has Chipp. Right here is an iframe, so it lives on your website, right? And you can have a chat, or you have it as a speech bubble, a little pop-up. So like you can have it like you would expect, kind of a chat support. So one of the templates that I showed you and you can search for is the customer FAQ. This is a great way to lower the administrative burden on simple questions, right? Just put it there. People can ask questions about what you're doing, your opening hours, whatever it might be. So this is a really fast way to build with Chipp. A lot of other power, including like putting it on custom domain. But what people love the most is that you can then see what people are talking about. So if you want, you can turn on the chat logs, and we're going to be able to then go through and see what are the answers that my chat gave to people and what were people asking. So if I'm looking at customer feedback and putting that on my website, I'm going to see what are people curious about so I can improve my website, right, by putting that information front and center. Or maybe I give the 500 surveys, and I'm going to export that to a Google Sheet. Like I can go in here and I can just put this out to a Google Sheet. And now I can put that Google Sheet back into Chipp as a knowledge source and ask questions about all the things people asked about. So is Don here? I don't know if he's here, but they're using it to ask people in Mozambique about what their concerns are. They're running a Facebook ad, driving people to a chat where they're talking about their needs. And then they're taking all those answers, putting those needs into a spreadsheet and asking questions about how could we write ads speaking to these needs, right? So it's essentially like wide-scale research at scale that then feeds into a better message. And it can be wild, like, trying to find folks in East Africa to talk to, but it could be simple, like, what are the questions people have about our childcare program at the church, right? It doesn't have to be like this world-changing thing, but you can think about how do we get massive data, take that data and use it, but then not only use it, but actually turn it into action. Like write me the web page, or write me the blog post, or write me the ad copy, right? Even generate me the image, right? So these all have the images that you would expect, and we can just say then, like, let's do anxiety. And I know we have a question here, and then we'll see what other questions we have. Yeah. And then I'll say, great, let's do 1 Peter. Now this is pulling from Paratext. There was a brief spinning gear here that, it's pulling it. So now it's getting that information. And then I might say something like, create an image that represents this picture. And so we can do all of these things. So basically, just want to show you how you can start simple, right? You take 4 sentences and tell it how to behave, and then you layer all this stuff on that you can get more and more complex. But I think the key is that you have your ability to take your expertise and turn it into something. And so one of the things that I love about AI is that expertise actually makes you better. And so previously technology went to the young, people who could figure it out. What research shows is that older, more experienced people are better at AI, because if I have to ask AI to create an image like Picasso and I don't know who Picasso is, that's really hard to ask. You know, if I need to ask it to write a sermon and I don't know what a good sermon looks like, it's going to be really hard for me to get a good sermon from AI. I don't know even what questions to ask. But you all have expertise and experience in different areas. If you can bring that expertise and supercharge with AI, you're going to get amazing results. So you have the postcard to go download your first agents and train it. And we hope that you enjoy trying out Chipp and learning on Chipp as well. I know that there's lots of robots in here, and I want you to come out of your shell and share, because that's the best way to build teammates, right? This is your chance to build a strong team. And ultimately have AI do the things that you don't want to do. So I would love to take questions from the centaurs, and if you need to go, that's totally fine. I know we're at the end of the day, but yeah, let's hit all of these.
So the project in Malawi, is it being done in English or local language?
Great question. I think local language. Yeah, AI does great at translating and switching languages. We've had a lot of conversations about minor languages, more difficult, but you know, if you're doing Swahili, French, English, like Nepali, it switches. Yeah, you just say, tell it to me in Nepali and it switches. It's wild. We have a project with Northern Illinois University. They don't have enough Spanish-speaking tutors, and so they use Chipp to provide tutoring services to people in their mother tongue, because they can do it at midnight the day before the exam in Spanish, right? So, yeah. You can choose, yeah, page by page or whole site. You can flip it on. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So the models that you showed us, like Protege and
Yeah.
Color, these are models you have created on it.
Those are all templates that we've built or Chipsters, other people that use Chipp. Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
we're basically taking that as a baseline
Yeah.
to create our own.
Exactly, yeah. Use it as a starting point. You're going to want to tweak it and add your own files, but it saves a lot of time. Yeah.
Where does that get saved? Does it get saved on?
It gets saved on your account. So you sign up for Chipp and you duplicate it, and you'll see that app in your dashboard. Yeah. It'll say copy of whatever you pick. Yep. Yeah.
Will it be on the Chipp account or?
On your Chipp account. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It can be HIPAA compliant. Yeah. So if you store it in your own cloud, that we have a BAA with Anthropic, and then you can use it to be HIPAA compliant. So we have some clinics that are doing that. FERPA compliant for schools as well. And we're working towards SOC 2, which is another thing that a lot of larger companies need. So, yeah. Yeah, Notebook LLM is awesome. So you can go to Google, upload your files, and then ask questions. Big differences are with Chipp, you can take it to your own site, right? You imagine like you have to go to Google to do that, and it's not going to be prepared for other people. Like it's hard to share a notebook for other people to go talk to. It's really good for you. So I'd always think like single player versus multiplayer is the first fork in the road, and then do you need branding and ownership so you can see the chat logs and put your own logo on it and have it on your website, or are you okay going to custom GPT or a Notebook LM? Those would be a couple quick ones, and then privacy if you need that. Yeah.
You mentioned that multiplayer earlier.
Yeah.
And then now again.
Yeah.
Is that the function built inside Chipp?
Yeah, you can add teammates, so you can collaboratively build Chipp chats. So you could have your whole team in there modifying the prompts, but more importantly, you can share that. We don't price on users; we only price on the editors. So most ChatGPT or Copilot, you're paying per seat, and you can't share it with people who don't have a seat. With Chipp, you build it, and you're just going to pay on like number of total questions. So you can share it with your whole congregation. Anyone can use it without having a login. So yeah, it's more organization level. We'll go here and then here. Yep. Yeah. The models provide APIs. Yep. So we use those to access them. Yep. With Chipp, you use ours. Yeah. There are some tools where you can bring your own API key, but we don't have that on Chipp. Yeah. Yeah. We have 3.7 integrated. Yeah. Almost everything is in there. We do it very quickly. We don't have Llama 4 yet. But 3.7 is there as well as 03. So The APIs are sometimes a few weeks behind what they release commercially. Like the new GPT, is going to be maybe a week or two behind. They haven't released image generation as an API as an example, but yeah. Yeah, we take their API, put a small markup on it, and then add a lot of features they don't have, like additional knowledge sources, and yeah, perfect. Yeah, we'll go here. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yep. So the question is like, can you go get data in Chipp? Yep, so you can do like web browsing where it'll go get information. So any of the features you have in paid ChatGPT, so image generation, web browsing, image upload, it's actually one of my favorites is I do a lot of design thinking workshops, take a picture of all the sticky notes and then put it into Chipp and say, put this into text. It'll just take all the handwritten stuff, make it digital. Really powerful. So yeah, it can go browse the web. It can get stuff from API, so you can connect like the weather.com in via API, and when you ask for the weather, it pulls the weather, things like that. Yeah. So if you know a little bit about APIs, like you add a lot of power. We typically say if you know what an API is, you're going to be like the top 5% of Chipp users. Most people don't know what any of that is. They don't need to, but it's there. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's probabilistic on a graph. You think about that bell curve and picking the word in the sentence, it's trying to pick the middle of the curve, but it doesn't always do that. So sometimes it might be further out and it's going to get wilder, and then Hunter's going to talk about RAG probably. No, that's general. That's AI, yeah, go for it. Yeah. Yeah. And the last thing I would say around that is AI is good at what computers are bad at, and computers are good at what AI is bad at. So think about AI is good for qualitative, tons of information, figuring things out. Computers are really good at calculating things, right? So like the things that AI are weakest at are generally like you might be able just to get it from a spreadsheet or a database, but a lot of the stuff like, if I'm trying to summarize a PDF or take action on a PDF, traditional computer is not good at that because it's zeros and ones. So that's a good quick frame, I think, for some people. Yeah. All right, who built something? Anybody follow along? Was I too fast? Go home and build? Go home and build? Awesome. Well, there's so much power. I would love for you guys to share it. Join the academy and take a course. Let us know what you have questions. We'll be here all day tomorrow and tonight. And Daniel has a few water bottles left, I believe, for people on the way out. I didn't ask enough questions, but happy to stick around if you want to ask up here, and we'll see you tomorrow.